I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if anyone has a public appeal, please approach the podium and sign in. State your name, and you have 5 minutes for your appeal.
Hi, I'm sorry. My name is Hedge Sefcovic, and I work for a company called AHA Arts Management, and you might see the banner at the end of Main Street about our next event that we're doing at the Wildlands, the Lehigh Valley Fiber Festival. What we would like to do is to put up some directional signage before the event and during the event to help keep our for our vendors to know where they're going, but also to keep the customers knowing where they're going. I have little maps if anybody wants to see what what we've been thinking of. Altogether, it would be 14 signs. They would go up Friday in the morning, and they would come down Sunday at the end of the event. 4 of those signs are actually in the front of the Macungie side of the high school. We've gotten permission from the high school to use that as overflow parking, but they only want us to use the parking lots on Macungie and the one that's on Macungie and Harrison, the senior lot. So 4 of those 14 signs that we want to put up would actually be to direct customers to make sure they stay in those lots, so they don't interfere with people that are coming for the home games and stuff going on that same weekend. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for, is the permission to be able to do that.
Are the signs going to be freestanding, or are they going to be posted on telephone poles or other poles that are there?
They'd be freestanding. They're the 18-inch by 24-inch lawn signs, the corrugated plastic ones.
Okay. And when is the event?
It'd be this Friday.
It's this weekend.
It's this weekend. So they'd go up Friday through Sunday.
No,
Staff
just,
will handle it.
no, just vote whether or not you allow them to do it.
Right now? All right, so do we want to make a motion to allow her to post those signs for this weekend's event?
Mr. Farnsworth had actually directed her to come to this meeting.
Okay.
And did he have any concerns?
Other
No.
than
Other than
council.
you guys saying yes and me paying my
Yeah.
$10, no.
I think we did this last year. You
No,
had
this is the
your-
first time.
No,
we've
this is a
had
first-time
it.
event.
Okay, but we had something similar,
Yes,
though,
Yeah.
correct.
that we allowed it.
Yeah, we spoke about the banner on Main Street. That's
Okay.
when you saw me last.
Okay.
So would somebody like to make a motion to allow the signs to be posted? Councilman Anders, second. Councilman Barrett. Any questions or discussion on the signs? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Neil Carl. The address is 7 South First Street and 106 Main Street. The reason I'm up here is I saw that on your agenda you have, under general administration, the vacating of First Street and the lot line adjustment. And I was wondering if today, are you going to make any type of decisions on that? Or is it just something that's pending and still in front of the committee?
That is something that's going to be voted to forward to the solicitor, correct?
To begin the process, if that's what you vote in
It's just
favor
to
of.
start the process, so nothing.
The reason I came up here today is to see if I could go to one of the committee meetings prior to doing anything with the vacating of the street.
Sure can. All the committee meetings are public.
Well, I didn't know it was actually in a committee meeting until I really read this, that I saw it was on the
At this point, I think it's being voted on tonight to forward it to start the process.
Yeah, so there will be several more opportunities. What they'll do is they would start the process tonight. They'd have to do a first draft of an ordinance. Then they're going to have to do a public hearing. In which case, you'll be able to voice concerns once again before they can actually adopt the ordinance.
So can't the voting be put off until my concerns are addressed and then proceed to the voting? I mean, I'm the only one that objected last time when all this happened. Well, not the only one, but I objected to it last time it happened. And there's more things that I'd like to bring forward before any decisions are made or before you go forward in anything with this. To give me an opportunity to voice my side and to show the borough some of the things that I have concerns about.
You can voice it right now. It's public appeal time.
Well, if you want me to, the first thing I'd like to voice is about you letting the Motorworks put his place in there in the first place. You realize that there is a unnamed tributary to the Lehigh Creek behind him. That's a high-quality cold water fishery stream that goes to the Lehigh. And in your ordinances, under your under your environmental protection ordinances, because he's within a 50-foot area of that creek, he has to get a Department of Environmental Protection permit to do any type of work, even to be put there.
So that's not true. We've gone through this with this man. He actually already contacted the environmental people about this. They've gotten back to us. We went through all the processes for all the approvals. Everything was legal. Everything was kosher. The man's in there legally. That has nothing to do with
But if your
this street.
If your ordinance says that it can't be done within a 50-foot without going through the, you have to go through that department.
I'm not going to comment on that anymore. You heard my response.
I mean, not only that, that it also, the ordinance, there's a couple more ordinances that go over what should be done prior to him even moving into there, or prior to that. The reason the ordinance for the stream water is there is because they don't want garages right next to a stream that park cars that leak oils and everything else like that up to the location and, contaminate our groundwater. Last time I was there with Mr. Brown, discussing some problems back there, and we both noticed all the fuel from that location up at the top running down the whole street down to my property. So there is a concern
From
about-
his property to your property?
on the street.
From the street, but it has nothing to do with his property, right?
Well, you rent the street to him, don't you?
I'm asking you where you're talking about. You're talking about from all the way up on Main Street?
No, I'm talking about on First Street, where he parks up in the top there in the back.
Okay, so it runs from his property to your property.
Correct. And
That's all
Mr.
uphill,
Brown
isn't it?
was there when that happened, so
Isn't that all uphill?
it's downhill.
To Main Street.
From the end of First Street down to Main Street.
The end of
is
First
ran.
Street. It's
From all the way to the
Okay.
top of the dead
Okay.
end down to my lot, fluids ran down to there. And that was only one incident. I imagine there's a lot of incidents where cars are parked there and fuels are coming down. It's the type of business he has in there that brings all that stuff there to produce the conditions that will contaminate groundwater.
But aren't you making it unsubstantiated?
Roy, raise your
I'm not
hand.
making anything unconsubstantiated. It's in your ordinances that they're in the ordinances because there were concerns, and none of those concerns have been addressed.
Mr. Brown, he spoke on your behalf. Is that what you observed?
Yeah, there was some kind of, looks like a oil leak or maybe a gas, fuel leak or something it was on the street on the west, yes, on the west side.
So is that out of the garage, do you think?
Yeah,
or-
it's out of the garage, it's on the street.
Now the reason they have that, the reason they have that in the ordinance is for those things not to happen. Because the more and more cars parked there, the more and more fuels we put on the street, the more and more contaminations run into the cold water streams. It is also a flood zone. We all just saw massive floods happening in Texas and Louisiana, and things like that can happen in this area also. And the reason we have flood zones and things like that is to protect people at those times. And they're in the ordinances, but it seems like the borough's not following any of the ordinances when it comes to that location.
Once again, he followed all laws and regulations of the Borough of Emmaus. I have no response to
Well, I'd
that.
like to go, that's why I'd like to sit down with the general administrative meetings, we'll go over your ordinance.
Well, we're not removing his business, Mr. Carl. His business is there. Like, this isn't about his business. This is about whether or not Borough
You're gonna
Council's
vacate-
going to vacate
You're gonna
that
vacate the
road.
property for his business, not
for that road.
But I don't
The road
understand,
that we don't maintain anymore.
I don't understand when you say that it's gonna cause more flooding when the street's already
It's not
there.
gonna cause more flooding, but when flooding.
Well, you're bringing
occurs-
up the flooding issue and it's already there.
That's because it's in a flood zone, that's why I brought up that issue. That whole area is in a flood zone.
But it's not like that building's brand new. That building was there before,
That's correct.
correct?
Correct. And guess what, there was no macadam on that either at that time.
But it was still considered impervious. Now, you've gone through that, we've gone through that with you as well, so.
Even to do the macadam work that he did on that property, he had to go through the Department of Environment.
Again, he went through all the legal processes, counsel, that's all I can
Was
say.
according to this and according to the laws of the department, he had to get a permit from them, and it wasn't obtained.
He received all approvals that were required.
All right, do you have any other appeals
Well-
pertaining to the vacating of the street?
What I'd like to do is get down and sit down to 3 people where I'm not in a big area because I can't talk in areas like this. And I'd like to just discuss it with people, 2 or 3 people, go over the thing and explain to me why it happened that way, and I'll be satisfied. But if it's not following what it's supposed to be, then I'm not satisfied.
Is it a public, what meetings do you want to attend?
Well,
Which one do you
I don't
want
know
to
what I don't know what he's referring to when he says that. Are you talking about like the building approval or the vacation of the street?
Well, it's all together, isn't it?
No, they're
Why are
two
you
completely
vacating
different
the street?
things.
You're vacating the street to give parking to that guy to have a building.
Which will make that piece of property taxable, which we have not maintained that property in over 3 years.
You haven't, what?
We have not maintained that street in 3 years.
As far as what?
We don't plow it, we don't patch
Oh my
it, we
God.
don't,
You
we
don't
don't,
plow that street?
we do not touch that street from that point forward. We do not.
That's not true. You're
Yeah, okay.
I go there, I plow there every year.
I can assure you that that
And
is
I
true.
know for a fact that they plow that street over there. I see your trucks in there all the time plowing most. But that's not the.
I can
the
assure
point
you that is true.
I would like to go to the general administrative meeting, voice my concerns about everything
September
that's in your
27th.
ordinances already that have to
That's
fix what
Wednesday.
has happened in that location.
We're at 5 minutes on your appeal. Is there a motion to extend his appeal another 5 minutes? Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilman Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no.
No.
There are 6 ayes and 1
There's
opposed.
5.
Councilwoman Gilbert.
2 opposed.
Oh, and Councilman Roy, 6,
So-
5-2. So you have 5 more minutes.
So then, so let me just ask a question. It states here the next meeting is September 27th at 9 AM, right?
Well, he can go to the General Administration
Right.
Committee. Anybody can go, and you can, and there is a public appeal process there.
But I would, before we have to go to, can't we just hold off on that until I go to that meeting, which is only a week away?
That's up to the council when we vote. They heard your appeal.
Well, you just said we're just making recommendations to start the process.
Correct, and
So
there'll be public
There'll be
hearings.
multiple hearings and public
Correct.
opinion, so really, we're just starting the process. Nothing's going to happen tonight. That's all. I mean, we're not voting on anything.
Okay, well, that's what I like to do. I like to come to the general administration meeting, or maybe I should go to the public works, because there's
It's
something
not
else.
on their
But I
agenda.
guess I could do it all with the general administration and sit there and talk to you about it. We can discuss everything and take it from there. I mean, I'm only trying to get things done the right way, without going to attorneys and all that other kind of crap.
But I would just like you to keep in mind that it's strictly just on the vacating of the street.
Correct.
The borough giving up 20 feet by 40, is it? Something like
Wanted
that?
to turn it into taxable property.
And it will turn into a taxable property where the borough residents will actually get some tax money out of it.
Well, you know what, when you can say that though, is evidently that piece of property is valuable to somebody. It could be valuable to me also. Why do you think that you should just give it to one person and not to let it to have anybody else who wants to have it?
He requested it. Did you request it?
Well, I can request it. I mean, the whole idea is if you're gonna vacate something, you just don't give it to somebody, it's worth something.
Actually,
Well, I don't think-
that's how vacating works. Is
I know,
each
but-
side of the property gets half of it.
You say, oh, we're saving money for plow, what, you know what? That-
No, what I said was we haven't plowed it. We have not maintained it.
That property is worth money, be it to him or to me. It's parking for somebody. It'd be parking for somebody down the street, because in your variances, you're allowed to have so much away from a place to have parking. So it's a valuable piece of property. I just can't see that we can just give it away. You know, I mean,
It's obvious he has personal grudge.
Okay.
don't respond.
All right, well, we heard your appeal. We'll look for you at the General Administration Committee. And if you want, you can also forward a letter beforehand if you want, so we know what you're going to actually say.
Well, you basically, okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public appeals? Hearing none, we'll move to community minute. Does anybody have a community minute to bring forward? How did the community yard sale go? Was that good? Anybody see anything or visit anybody?
It was light. Yep.
I think the first one is always
The spring one is the better.
Like,
Yeah.
that's-
This
Because
was,
the college kids aren't there to help.
Our next, no,
I don't think that many individuals participated for this one.
Okay.
yeah.
I will say that at the Triangle, the
Fair in the
event
summer.
was well attended, and from what I've heard and seen.
In the summer?
End of summer, yes. It was a really great event that they put on. I've heard, thousands of people actually came out, so great turnout for a great day, and we appreciate them putting on the event.
Great. All right, we have no special presentations. We have reading of the minutes. Would somebody like to make a motion to pass the meeting minutes of September 5th, 2017? Councilman Dufresne, is there a second? Councilman Schipsta, any questions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. There are no decisions on bids. We have 2 communications. Linda Rose from North Street sent a letter of resignation from the Emmaus Library Board, who doesn't feel that she has enough time to be committed to it, but she is still involved with the library. And Brittany Stevens from Fernwood Street is requesting an appointment to the Emmaus Arts Commission. I believe the CRD interviewed?
Borough Council.
Or you're going to interview her? All right, so that's on your agenda. Great. Does anybody else have anything to bring forward as far as communications? All right. We have no borough engineers report. Solicitors report.
Nothing tonight,
Thank you. That moves us to unfinished business part 1. We have 3 ordinances up for their second reading. And we'll start with ordinance 1159, an ordinance creating a quality of life ticketing program to resolve property blight and maintenance violation issues in a more expeditious manner. Would somebody like to make a motion for ordinance 1159? Councilman Schipsta, is there a second? Councilman Dufresne. Any questions or discussion? Whose committee did this come out of?
Mine.
Do you have any comments to bring up on this?
No, I mean, everyone had a chance to read it over. We had no changes to it. Everything was straightforward, short and sweet.
All right. Hearing no other questions, this is a roll call vote. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schipsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Labenberg? Aye. There are 7 ayes. Next is the ordinance 1160, an ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 5, Code Enforcement, Part 6, International Property Maintenance Code, subsection 5-602, amendments of the Borough of Emmaus Consolidated Code of Ordinances to establish regulations to prohibit furniture and appliances on the exterior of a property. Is there a motion to approve 1160? Councilman Schipsta, is there a second? Councilman Brown, whose committee, this came out of your committee
Yep.
too. Any comments on this?
No, I mean, just basically, we were unaware of that we did not have this in.
I mean, we have one issue in town, and that's what brought this
Yeah,
about.
and it was brought up, and, and we just have to deal with it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call vote. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schipsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Labenberg? Aye. There's 7 ayes. And then we have ordinance 1161, an ordinance amending the provision of Chapter 10, Health and Safety, Part 2, Vermin Control of the Borough of Emmaus Consolidated Code of Ordinances to authorize the animal control officer to enforce vermin control ordinances. Is there a motion to approve 1161? Councilman Schipsta, is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, this came from your committee also. Any comments from you?
Nope.
Any
It was something
questions?
that was just required to be put in.
Hearing none, oh, Councilman Barrett?
I think all three of these pieces altogether, I mean, I'm appreciative that you spent the time to get them together in your committee. I think that there are things that we have over the years heard questions or comments, and this tightens up some of those things and gives us a little more teeth to enforce.
Yeah, we don't really have issues with this, thankfully, but if it does, now we're able to address it, so.
Well, I say all three. I mean, this one is probably the least of the first two
Yeah.
that we just voted on. Collectively, though, all of this,
Correct.
I think is important.
I agree. No more questions? All right. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schubsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg? There are 7 ayes. Thank you. Under new business, we have ordinance 1163. We are having a first reading on this. An ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 1, subsections 341 and 343 of the Code of Ordinances, amending the number of members and residency requirements for the Emmaus Arts Commission. Is there a motion to approve 1163? Councilman Schubsta, seconded by Councilman Barrett. I believe we discussed this. This is in General Administration Committee, correct? Do you have anything to add to this?
I was going to add that it also changes the definition of borough resident that allows it that a business owner in the borough of Emmaus can be on the Arts Commission. And as we've observed, I mean, it's one of the more active committees, and we felt that little bit of expansion. Well, first of all, the member expansion will help, but then the expansion of the definition will also help to sustain that 13. And for the most part, the business owners are concerned about what goes on downtown, and they're also equally involved in what goes on downtown. So,
And if I can add, it's going from 11 to 13 members.
yes.
Anything else?
No.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just, I didn't see, does it change the terms?
No.
Or-
No,
Service?
same term.
They'll be staggered.
Pretty staggered. Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is a roll call vote too. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schuster?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg? Aye. There are 7 ayes. Under unfinished business part 2, we have 2 ordinances that will have their second reading in October. One's October 2nd, one's October 16th. Items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to bring forward? Hearing none, Mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to read the proclamation for Trick or Treat Night. Proclamation 2017-429, Trick or Treat Night. Whereas the Borough of Emmaus has deemed it appropriate to designate a special night in the borough as Trick or Treat Night. And whereas the children of the Borough of Emmaus are entitled to the fun and festivity associated with the observance of the Halloween trick-or-treat custom. That is going from door to door in their neighborhoods, displaying their costumes and requesting treats. And whereas the safety of these small creatures is assured by accompanying adult and is a source of amusement and good cheer for both the very young and the older people whom they visit and entertain. Now therefore I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim Friday, October 27th, 2017, as Trick-or-Treat Night in the borough, with all trick-or-treat activities to be conducted between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. I request that households indicate their willingness to welcome children by keeping their porch or exterior lights on, and that youngsters only call on homes so lighted. Done this 18th day of September 2017 at the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Progress.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's getting to that time of the year already.
Yep,
I saw some leaves falling down today.
yeah.
All right, this moves us to our committee reports. Public Works Committee Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing, there's one item that is for official action that did not meet or did not get onto your notes, and that is the All Year Incorporated, also known as Aurora Landscaping and Lawn Care, is requesting another extension of the lawn mowing contract. The request would be the second extension of a 3 one-year optional extensions. The price is going to be the same as last year, which is $50,700. Aurora maintains 18 borough properties on a weekly basis during the mowing season. We've had these folks for a long time, and it was a letter was submitted and asking for that second extension of the 3. So I'm going to put that in a form of a motion that we allow Aurora Landscape and Lawn Care another extension at the price of $50,700.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Brown. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert? Any questions or discussion on the contract? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
And that's it for official action, and I'll report progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Shipsta.
We took care of the 3 ordinances this evening, so we have nothing else for official action. So our next meeting is scheduled for September 21st at 4:15 in council chambers. I'll report progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairman Anders.
Nothing for official action this evening. Our next meeting is October 3rd at 4 p.m. Progress.
Thank you. Public Works, or Public Safety Committee, Chairwoman Gilbert.
Thank you. Just 2 items for action this evening. The first deals with the Fire and Ambulance Corps. They're looking to replace their signage indicating where their locations are. They did show us samples of what those signs might be, and it's just going to be simple. One will say fire, and underneath it will either have ambulance or EMS. It's a directional sign to let residents know where the actual building is located. We had discussed the possible locations of 6th and Harrison and Chestnut and 6th. And the signs would be approximately $30 a piece. So I'll place that in the form of a motion that we do allow them to purchase those signs.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Gilbert. Is there a second? Councilman Brown? Any questions or discussion on the signs? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
The second item that we have for this evening, Mr. Wilson from Motors Plus has graciously donated a motorcycle to the police department. The committee unanimously accepted that donation, so we'd like to bring that forward for council. He is donating the motorcycle. He will have the lights and decals installed on the bike. It will be used for parade purposes, funeral escorts, anything other than patrol. It will not be used for patrol. So I place that in the form of a motion that we do accept that donation.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Brown. Any questions or discussion? So there's no cost at all to the borough?
No
Is this
cost to
all
the borough at
donated?
all. All donated.
And this is strictly a parade motorcycle, basically?
Basically, yes.
All right, that's fantastic. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Other items that will be coming forward in the future will be civil service rules, and the fire department is looking to replace a steel pavilion out at the training grounds, but there's a question on the funding for that, so we're going to hold off on bringing that forward from this evening. But other than that, 7 Generations is still a work in progress. We are trying to work through that. It has gotten better.
Yeah, I honestly have not had, and
No
I live
issues?
right up the road, I have not seen an issue thus far in the school year.
There's about a 5-minute issue going on
The
there.
first 2 weeks
Not
was
on Second
difficult.
Street anymore,
Right.
but actually right in front of the school.
Okay.
And they're trying to figure out if school districts from 20 miles away could send smaller buses
Smaller,
for the 3 kids they
right.
pick up and drop off. But B, if there's a way to try to route the children to the bus a little quicker to try to get it moving.
And I've viewed that, I've driven through when schools got out, because I forgot about the time and I made that right turn. And you do see them more organized. They come out of school and they had them in lines feeding right to the buses. It was much more streamlined, and believe me, like I said, I live up the street. I've been one of the ones that have noticed the problems prior. It's gotten a lot better. So we do
Good.
appreciate the work the committee has put into that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, for the police department, they'll be receiving 2 grants, one for overtime to target under 18 drivers without seatbelts, and the second one is to target underage drinking at school functions. Other than that, that was all we had. I'll report progress.
Thank you, Chairwoman Gilbert. We have General Administration Committee, Chairman Barrett.
Yes, we have one remaining, or two remaining items for official action. The first was, we had a personal appeal about it, and it is the South First Street lot line adjustment. Mr. Pepe, how would you like me to word that? Do you want that to send it directly to the solicitor?
Well, you would be voting to either begin or not begin the process, and to have the
Right.
solicitor begin.
So we'll begin the process and sending it to, yeah, okay. So I'll place it in the form of a motion to begin the process of the South First Street lot line adjustment.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Anders?
Yeah, you're also looking to do the vacation.
To vacate.
Okay, so do you want that in a second motion? Or do you want that as part of this
You
one?
can do it as one.
All right,
Okay.
so you're amending
So
your
I'll
motion.
amend it to add the,
Motion's amended by Councilman Barrett. Is the second amended?
Oh, man.
Amended by Councilman Anders also. Any other questions or discussion on this?
just a comment that all fees will be paid by Motors Plus.
No cost to the borough.
That's correct.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
The second item is a resolution in regards to establish an orientation program for newly elected borough officials. I'm sure that all of us who are sitting at these desks up here agree that that would have been a beneficial tool when they first started. Not you, Shipsta? You were ready to go from day
It was
one?
great to just throw you right in there, hand you this big book and go, here, this is what you have to do.
It's also obvious, right? Yeah. So we discussed this. Mr. Pepe would be the one that goes through the process with the council members, but also some of the department heads. And I think that it would be very beneficial to get you started once you sit in this seat and you start to learn how all the roles, all the functions, all the thousands of functions that go on in municipal government. So I'll place that in the form of a motion to approve Resolution 2017-28.
There's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Gilbert. I'll make a note that we will have 3 new council members next year because of Councilman Brown moving on to the county commissioner position, and Councilwoman Gilbert will become our first female mayor. So we'll need to replace them. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Have it.
Did you raise your hand?
I did raise my hand.
You need orientation. Orientation, man. What's the matter with you?
Orientation won't help you, Roy.
Progress.
4 more years, Shane.
Thank you, Chairman Barrett. Budget and Finance Committee, that's myself. We have Resolution 2017-27, which is the bill list. Would somebody like to make the motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Councilman Shipsta, seconded by
Second.
Councilwoman Gilbert. It was recommended by the committee by a vote of 3-0. Does anybody have any questions on the bill list? Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Also, we have the 2018 minimum municipal obligation, which is for our pension funds. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the MMO for next year?
So moved.
Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Schützler. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. With that being said, I have nothing else on the agenda. Our next meeting is September 28th at 3:15 here in council chambers. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairman Dufresne.
At our last meeting, we discussed the Emmaus Halloween Parade and the distribution of candy. The president did ask us to come with a recommendation to council here. So I'd like to make a motion that the Emmaus Borough Council supports the handing out of candy at the Emmaus Halloween Parade.
There's a motion by Councilman Dufresne. Is there a second? Councilman Brown. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
The only other thing, just to remind people that the Emmaus Halloween Parade Committee does need volunteers to help with the parade. Other than that, I'd like to report progress.
Thank you, Chairman Dufresne. You have 3 various boards and commission meeting minutes on your agenda. Personal appeals part 2, if anybody has a personal appeal, please approach the podium and sign in. Hearing none, Borough Manager's report.
Significant revenue and expense items for first half September are in your iPads. If you have any questions on that. Secondly, all of the budget requests have been made by the department managers. The process has begun. I've met with all the managers already. I've started meeting with the committees. I think I only have 27 more meetings to go. Yes. Yes. So my budget is due to you October 16th. So we'll meet that date. But again, like every other year, there's a lot going on there. So you got plenty of reading material.
Shane, just a quick, I know we just missed it in CRD, but quick reminder for the council and the public that the Southwest plan is on Monday, the 25th.
7 o'clock.
Yes. I know that there's one council member not going to be present. Is there?
I'll be there.
Are we going to have a majority of council there? We need to have a majority of council there.
I'll be there.
Be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Guess
Very
who's
good.
not there.
Don't give up your day job.
That's what happens when you get a new job.
The last thing that I'll report is this weekend, the Heritage Alliance Festival is going to be on Sunday at the same time as the Farmers Market. Everything will be at the Historical Society building. So I guess it's going to be a really neat event. Dick Farmer was in my office today talking about it, and what started out as, what was supposed to be this big, it's kind of grown and grown and grown. So they're excited about that. If you have an opportunity on Sunday to stop by and visit them, it'll be a neat event. He was also, it's kind of neat, he was able to trace that Dale Earnhardt is actually related to the founders of this community. So he's writing a letter to Mr. Earnhart Jr., I guess. And
He didn't steal his DNA, did he, and
I don't
send
know.
it to Ancestry.com, did he?
I don't know what he did. I'm not at liberty to discuss, but he did. They're excited about that too. So,
Wow.
other than that, if you have any questions, please ask, or I'll report progress.
Thank you. Under President's Business, we have an executive session to discuss personnel matters. Are we,
No action.
no action be taken? Also, I didn't bring this up under my GA, or under the GA report. My official work schedule is changing October 1st, so we'll have to move the meetings from Wednesday to Thursday, starting with the first meeting in October, if we could make that advertisement.
Okay.
So instead of Wednesday, it's going to be the same schedule, but it will be Thursday instead of a Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, Shane?
Starting the meeting after
October.
October 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
First meeting in
So
October.
we'll put the advertisement out.
Can we just confirm all the dates?
Yeah.
I just want to.
I can do that.
I'll go
Okay.
through
It will be on
everything.
our sheet, whatever the date is one day later, but we
Yeah, it
just
should
have to
be
make
fine.
sure it doesn't,
I'll send out an email to you, and we'll change it on the calendar.
I mean, thinking about it now is going to interfere probably with Thanksgiving unless it's the opposite
We're gonna
Thursday.
cancel that meeting anyhow.
Unless it's the opposite Thursday, I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah.
But So, with that being said, we'll recess at, what is that, 7:40? It's on your iPad.
Yeah.
It's on your
Oh,
iPad.
it's slow.
All right, we'll reconvene at 9:09. Is there a motion to adjourn? Councilman Shipsta, seconded by Councilman Barrett. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. We are adjourned at 9:10. We're going to do